Do not be a CRNA if. My name is Christine and welcome to a new video. If this is your first time here and you want to become a CRNA or grow your CRNA career, definitely subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss anything. So you're thinking, why should I not become a CRNA? I know I'm currently a CRNA, but I definitely have some advice about if you don't want to be a CRNA, these are the reasons why you shouldn't become one. And it's up to you to decide if this makes sense to you. Comment below, what do you think about, before we even start this video, what do you think about becoming a CRNA? Is it a thumbs up, a thumbs down? What are your concerns? I would love to see it in the comments below. First thing I'll say is, if you say to yourself, I don't know if I want to become a CRNA because I'm not smart enough, or I don't know if I could become a CRNA because, I don't have the intelligence. Honestly, I will say to you, no, don't think that way. I can say from my experience, it has never been easy for me to go through schooling. I was never the top of the class. I wasn't the lowest of the class. I was pretty average when I was in school. But not to say that I wasn't smart enough. At times I did think that way. I felt, man, I don't even know if I can do this. This is so hard. But I just put the work in. I would go to the library. I would just study 10 times more than the average person. I had a very supportive family. And I just said to myself, every day, I'm just going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep pushing, and I'm not going to give up. I'm going to put my work in. I'm going to try my best. I'm just going to go for it. And if I got this far to get accepted into a program, or I got accepted to become a registered nurse, or I got accepted to even go to college, or I have the mindset that I know that I haven't even started the process yet and I know my path, that is a thumbs up. Because no matter who you are, you can do it. Because there's people with disabilities, there's people of different backgrounds, different language barriers, social economic status barriers, and they still push through it, and they still went ahead and pursue their career, pursue their passion. So with me, when I was growing up, I was not rich. I pretty much lived in poverty. My parents didn't have a lot of money, and every step when I went to school was difficult, financially. When I went to become a registered nurse, before I even went into deciding that I want to become a registered nurse, I was in biology and chemistry and biochemistry, just figuring myself out. So for example, when I was getting my bachelor's degree, when I first applied to college, I knew, my stepfather, who is my love of my, I loved him so much. He's not here right now. He passed away probably 10 years ago, but he was my motivation. He was always supportive. And even though we didn't have financial, strengths in order to go to college, he said, you're going to apply to college. We're going to get financial support. We will, if you have to take out loans, you're just going to do that. And we're just going to push through it. And I listened and I said, okay, go to college. I know I wanted to be in the medical field or maybe in research. And so when I went to school and I applied, for my financial assistance, there was something called a higher education opportunity program that I got accepted into. And it's a lot of times you're accepted if you have a diverse background, you're a minority. It may not even be a minority. Maybe you are in poverty. Maybe you don't have, financial, assistance naturally, to go to school, to go to college. The government will give you grants, will give you financial aid, will help you with loans, and also to help you pay a lower rate when you go to college. And so when I got accepted into that type of program, it was amazing, it really helped me. So I honestly say, if you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, I can't afford to go to college, it's not even an opportunity, there are financial aid out there. And that was one of my concerns. And also I thought to myself, man, I'm not smart enough, even to go to college. But When you're in college, you have your amazing professors, you have other classmates, you have friends, you have so many. Even in college, there's a lot of opportunities for you to grow. I wasn't a very strong writer, when I was writing my papers. So I went to the writing center to help me. Or for example, when I felt I was having difficulties in organic chemistry and I needed some help, I went to the teacher's assistants or I went to my professors and I went to meet with them on their office hours. And maybe I spent a lot of times in office hours, but you know what? It helps me because it kind of helped me get to where I needed to be at. So I wasn't the smartest person, but I sought assistance financially, even, with getting help from teachers assistants, even my classmates. Like there's always someone in your class who's really strong in a specific area. Have group meetings, go to library. So if you're thinking that that's one of the things that, I can't become a CRNA, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Another thing you might be thinking, man, don't become a CRNA if you have a low GPA, for example. Well, I will say that yes, I can understand that concern because a lot of programs will accept you if you have a minimum of a 3.5 GPA. They want high GPA. It's a very competitive program. But I can reassure you that depending on the program, you may have a lower GPA than required, but it's not about just your GPA. It's about you as a student. Do you fit the program? How are your GRE scores? Maybe there's certain classes that, maybe in the beginning when you were going to college, you had lower, you weren't as focused, for example, and you maybe didn't get as good grades, but now you maybe have taken classes over, or you've taken others, like for example, your sciences, for example, you did really strong in, and you've shown improvement. And also maybe your experience, maybe you've done research, maybe you've done a lot of extracurricular activities, maybe you've been a part of sports, maybe you've done, student government, maybe you've done leadership opportunities. And maybe when you worked in the ICU, you went above and beyond, So for example, those are some things to think about when you are applying to a CRNA program, for example. It's not just always your GPA, high GPA, of course, is a great benefit, but it's not always about that because, a lot of the CRNA school interviews have changed for 2023. And I have a video on that, and that's going to be upcoming very shortly. But it also is about your personality. Are you a fit? So definitely think about that if you're thinking, my GPA, well, it's not always the case depending on the program, as well as you. Another thing you might be saying, don't become a CRNA if you have no experience. Well, I can say that is true. If you have no experience at all, you technically can't apply to a CRNA program, but that doesn't mean you can't become a CRNA. Just think about now, saying for example, you're in labor and delivery, for example, or maybe you are in, medical surgical unit, and maybe you've done that for many years, and now you're saying, you know what, I'm ready to pursue to become a CRNA. Well, go ahead and think about applying to an ICU. Maybe your hospital has an ICU. I would say apply, try to get accepted to work in that unit, and you need just a minimum of 1 year. 1 year. A lot of programs 3 to 5 years of experience, but there's many CRNAs who I've spoken to, even students who I've spoken to currently, and they only need 1 year and they got accepted. So just think about that. You can get accepted into a program just with a minimum of 1 year. So definitely think about that. Another thing I've heard is that don't become a CRNA if you were a nurse practitioner. Like, I've heard that before. I can understand that. If you are a nurse practitioner, for example, if you are a nurse practitioner, you went through the schooling and you got your, national boards as a nurse practitioner, depending on your specialty. Maybe it's family medicine, maybe it's primary care, maybe it's pediatrics. Yes, I can understand that. Yeah, if you are a nurse practitioner, you can actively work as a CRNA, right? There's different training. But for example, for me, when I was, unregistered nurse, I went back to school to become a nurse practitioner. I was interested in acute care nurse practitioner because I love the ICU. But when I was getting closer to my last year doing my rotations, I decided that when I was in the ICU, I saw acute care nurse practitioners, and I saw what they did, and I really didn't do much research, but I just knew I loved the hospital. But when I saw how the working job looked like, it just didn't feel like a fit for me. Not that there was anything wrong with becoming a nurse practitioner. It just, in my gut, it didn't feel right. So I said to myself, wow, I'm almost done with my degree. What do I do now? Do I have to stick with nurse practitioner? No, you can think about switching to going into another program. So that's what I did. I first shadowed a CRNA, where I was currently working. I was like, wow, this is awesome. I like this. This is something I can see myself doing. And it made me realize maybe I should have, shadowed a nurse practitioner beforehand. Not that saying there's other specialties in nurse practitioner you can do, but I didn't do that. I just shadowed a CRNA, and I loved it. So then I had to think to myself, I cannot become a CRNA. No, yes, you can. So I applied, of course I had my training already as an ICU nurse. I had my CCRN, I had my GRE. I had everything pretty much the same. I even had advanced practice, courses under my belt. So I went ahead and applied to a CRNA program, and I got accepted. So yes, I had to go back to start from scratch, but some of my classes that I took actually transferred over, which helped me. So the first year, it was a much lighter amount of classes I had to take, which helped me because I had a beautiful newborn baby, Bella. When I started school, I was pretty much pregnant, and 6 days before I started classes, I had a newborn baby. So actually it was a benefit for me. So if you are thinking you're a nurse practitioner, or you're a nurse practitioner in school and now you're deciding that you want to become a CRNA, you can do so just like I did. And look at me now. I'm currently a CRNA for many years, and I love it. So you can do it no matter what area you're in currently. So I hope a lot of these, don't become a CRNA because, these are a few. I want you to comment below, what are some other things that you might think that people might say about don't become a CRNA because, for example, right? But I thank you for being here and listen to this video. If you want to learn more about becoming a CRNA, definitely click one of these videos over here, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.